professional who seamlessly blends expertise as a dentist, lawyer, and medico-legal consultant. They are a standout addition to this panel. I kindly request
So this is something we need to really understand, that how will the innovations get impacted when the AI goes beyond the scope of IP rights, beyond the scope of copyrights. This should not be something that is impacting innovation, because after a point of time, if I am putting in 2 years of hard work into one product, or let's say working on a publication, and somebody else just uses it in their own form and monetarily, starts benefiting from it without giving me the due credit. Now, this is where I feel we should draw the line, and AI is dangerously encroaching on the boundaries of IP Act, right? Also, this is the reason is that we do not have clear legislations regarding it. To move ahead, I would like to talk about the EU AI Act. Is anybody aware of it? Are you aware of the EU AI Act? Yes. So, why this is necessary for everybody sitting in this room is because all of you either will work on an AI project, are working, or have worked in the past on it, right? We do not have any regulations in India when it comes to governing AI. Very arbitrary regulations which will not give you a lot of results. But what we have to look up to is the EU AI Act. So European Union has come up with an act that was partly implemented last year and will finally come into force next year, I guess. This act has divided AI into 4 parts, right? The first part is the minimal risk part. Now, what comes in minimal risk? When you go to a website and you see, okay, ask our expert, the basic chatbots that we make, right? So that will come under minimal risk. It needs absolutely no monitoring or no permissions whatsoever. When we move to the next level, that is your limited risk. So in limited risk, you have deepfakes and you have ChatGPT-like models. So these LLMs you have in, limited risk models. But here they have mentioned, and I want you to pay attention for everybody who is using deepfakes or will use deepfakes for whatever reason, ethical, unethical. For use in EU, you have to mention that this is a deepfake or this is an AI-generated image. Now, this is very, very important because there are devastating impacts of deepfake on everybody's lives, and it will show up in the next 5 to 10 years. It creates havocs in court because they do not know whether a certain, video generated is, it's either generated or it's a true video, right? Now, when you move to another level, that is the high risk level, here they talk about the healthcare, they talk about the legislation, all the sectors that impact our lives or can lead to a life and death situation. For example, let's talk about an AI healthcare app or maybe robotic surgery. If this app is made by people who have absolutely no knowledge in medicine, this is going to cause problems. If you were going to develop this app in EU, what they would ask you to do is they would ask for the credentials of the person making it, the person's feeding data, extensive clinical trials, and finally all the reports and the feedbacks from people using it. So what they have made is a sandbox, right? So it's a saying basically that what happens in a sandbox stays in a sandbox, right? So what they do is they sort of ask you to work in that sandbox. That is, they create a controlled environment where you can play around with your own AI model and they test the ethics of it, right? Now, moving ahead, when you go on a higher risk, that is the unacceptable risk category, how many of you know the social scoring system in China? Or maybe just roughly heard about the social scoring system. Okay, so one of the reasons I ask is how many of you know about it is because all of this is happening slyly under our noses, and we are not aware about it because it's not coming into mainstream, right? We are always talking about the positives, the progress and all of it, and it's great, it's wonderful, it helps us. But we should talk about such things. Now, coming to the China model, when you talk about China's scoring, what it does is, suppose there is a person X, right? Now this person has committed 3 crimes. The first one is, let's not say crimes, just 3 things that he has done. The first thing is he has not paid his credit card dues on time. So let's say he has a debt. Second would be he was caught jaywalking. Third would be that he wrote a comment on the internet against the government, or maybe it was a vulgar comment. Now, and fourth thing what he did was he paid a hefty sum to a charity, right? Now, out of these 4 things, there are 3 things that are negative, 1 thing that is positive. So for every negative thing, they will, let's say, subtract 10 or 5 points out of his social scoring system, and maybe they'll add 10, 20 points for his charity work. Now, this creates a score for every individual. To explain it further, let's talk about CIBIL score. I guess everybody's aware about the CIBIL score, right? CIBIL score will determine the interest that you pay. Similarly, the social scoring system will basically give you a score which will determine whether you can actually take a loan or not. It's not even about interest, whether you can actually take a loan or not. Maybe your kids want to go to a private school or maybe a government school. So that it can also determine whether your child will actually be allowed in that school or not. Some people might say that it is okay to give punishment for certain acts and then maybe appreciate for good acts. It will encourage people to do better things, right? Somewhere it is right, but when you look at the broader aspect of it, it gives a lot of power to the people making the regulations around the scoring system. So again, coming back to the question, who is making the scoring system? Who is determining whether this is right or this is wrong? When you say talking against the government in China, in this case, maybe it's a positive criticism. You never know, right? So this social scoring system is highly dangerous and it's completely banned in EU. So you cannot make any AI models which replicate this, all right? So this is broadly the EU AI Act that I want to talk about. Now, most of you must be thinking, why is it important for us? We are in India, that's the EU Act. Because most of the legislations that will come in the next 5 to 10 years will be loosely based on this act. And everybody working here on whatever AI models that you're working on should know this and start inculcating these regulations into your models right now so that you are future-proof, right? So when these legislations come to our country, you will not be left behind in legalities or nobody can sue you in this case. And apart from that, obviously, it is highly ethical. So you need to pay attention towards your ethics as well. Yes, just a sec. I wanted to add one more thing. All right. So another thing that I wanted to highlight was, as Sandhya ma'am rightly said about the spam calls, right? So the currency currently today is data. Data is the highest form of currency that anybody can have. If you have somebody's data, you can completely take over that person's life. And it is happening, right? People are losing their money and they're losing their lives behind all of this. So when you talk about data, we arbitrarily, without even thinking, enter our details into any random website or maybe the AI model as well when we are using ChatGPT. When we are using it in a personal capacity, what we do is we ask them anything that comes to our mind, right? Unless, as you rightly said, in your organization, you have your own GPT. So in that case, you will be a little bit regulated, the employee might wait, but when it's about a personal laptop, they might enter in any details that they want to. Again, coming back to the image generation here. So you are, has anybody, how many of you used it, created your own Ghibli artwork here? Okay. How many of you took a pause before creating it and thought, will my image be used against me? Okay. So this is what I want to, this is a takeaway message for all of you, that it is wonderful to have AI in our lives. It's going to improve our lives exponentially. It's going to create opportunities. Great. But I'm here to speak on behalf of our entire generation that we are more driven towards the ethics of it. We are the generation who do care about global warming. And we want to act as a roadblock, or maybe just speed breakers and those barricades that the police checks you, that if you are moving too fast and it might cause problems for us after decades, right? So take a break, breathe before entering anything into any other AI model, breathe before making an AI model. Just think of the bigger picture of how it will actually impact people. Will it cause an issue? How much of data do you really require from somebody, and how much are you actually taking from that person, right? And if you are taking a data and you're passing it on to somebody else, is that person actually going to use it in an ethical way, right? So this is my takeaway message to everybody here. Please, please take a breath and wait before doing anything, right? Thank you so much. Yes.